are taking a walk in downtown Oxford, and we're at the Oxford Wine and Beverage Company. I love a good glass of wine, so I can't wait to go inside and see what they offer, and maybe, hopefully, we'll get to taste something. Hi there, I'm David.
David, I'm Dean. Nice to see you.
Hey, I had to stop in here. I love a good glass of wine, so I'm hoping you can help me out.
I think I have some Pinot Grigio for you.
Perfect. Oxford Wine and Beverage, tell me about it.
Well, we've been here for 8.5 years now, David, and it's been exciting. This is it's kind of a second career for me. I used to be an IT guy and decided I want to take my passion to the streets, and I live here in Metamora, right outside Oxford. I said, let's do something close by. Here we are. So we've got 2,500 different wines. We've got a great selection of craft beers and beers from around the world, really. And we've also got a liquor license, and as you can see here, we have a lot of good single malt scotches.
Tell me, you were an expert.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a certified sommelier and an international wine judge, and I mentioned earlier I had 2,500 different wines. I've tasted all 2,500 of these wines. Not that I can remember all of them, but I remember most of them. And my job, and the thing that I really enjoy most of all, is to meet people, come in and they have a problem. They don't understand wines. They know they want to enjoy wines, but they're not sure where to go. So it's just a matter of talking with them, figuring out what it is that they like. And you can really equate wine to everything that we drink, whether it's pop or coffee or tea or whatever. And usually we can hit a home run.
Getting ready to do a wine tasting. I myself love wine. I have kind of my staples, so I'm going to talk to him about them and ask him questions about what I like to drink. I like to drink like a Chardonnay or a Pinot Grigio, so I'm excited to do this tasting and see what he has to say about it. Okay, what did you grab for us to try?
Well, I had some Pinot Grigio open from an event we did just yesterday with an Italian winemaker, and I understand you like Pinot Grigio.
I do like Pinot Grigio.
All right, well, let's try some. This is pretty nice. It might be a little bit cold. I just took it out of the fridge. You know, most wines should be a little bit warmer than refrigerator temperature. And by the way, you notice how much I poured in there. Do not pour more than that into a glass, because the whole idea is to swirl it. And if you pour more than that, it's going to slop right out of the glass. So here, give this a try.
So, and what is the proper etiquette for trying wine? Do you smell it first? Do you just take a small sip?
Well, there's a few things that you can do. You can tell a lot about a wine before you even get it in your mouth. You can tell a lot by looking at it, looking at the color. Usually what you do is you hold a piece of white paper behind it and you look at it. And you see how bright it is. And white wines, as they get old, get darker. Red wines, as they get old, get lighter. And they both turn to brown eventually.
Really?
So you can tell a lot of age by looking at the wine. Smelling it is another key thing. But what you want to do is you want to be able to take the wine and swirl it.
Even a white wine? Because now I thought it was just with red that you swirled.
No, it's with both wines. Because what happens is oxygen integrates with the wine and it opens up. The bouquet is much much stronger. So then you stick your nose in it and you smell it and you think about what kind of characteristics you're getting from that wine, and then you put it in your mouth and you actually drink it.
Okay. I thought there was a misconception. I didn't know you swirled white wine. So when you see those aerators, I guess, so you could actually run a white through that as well?
Absolutely. And that's the whole function of an aerator, is to integrate the oxygen with the wine.
Interesting.
And oxygen is good with wine when you first open it up and you start to drink it, but we have to finish that wine within 3 days at most. And some older wines within 2 or even 1 day, because the oxygen, it causes the acceleration of that wine to mature.
Right.
Another thing that people don't realize is that this happens to be a cork, and cork is nothing but a bark from a cork tree out of Portugal. And it can get a bacteria on it called TCA. And this happens more often than not. I actually was at a fine dining restaurant this past week, ordered a bottle of wine, and it came back and it was flawed. It was corked, what we call corked. And you can tell because you can either smell the cork or you can smell the wine, and again, that's what we're using our nose for. And it came out kind of musty, kind of like a damp basement, wet cardboard kind of thing. And that's a corked wine, and it happens in roughly about 4 to 5% of the wines.
Some people have told me the screw top wines now, that a lot of the wineries are turning to that because of that very reason. Is that true? You shouldn't think that just because it's a screw top that it's a cheap wine?
That's exactly true. We have a lot of people come in here, even today, that won't look at a wine that has a what they call a Stelvin enclosure. That's a screw cap as we know it, because they think of it as cheap wine, and back in the day, that's the only thing that was in that. But the reason that it has come along is because of that cork and because of the bacteria on that cork. You see countries like New Zealand and Australia really leading the charge in that. You're going to see more and more wines, and expensive wines, coming in bottles like that. So don't let that bother you. You're also seeing synthetic corks. You're seeing something coming out of Australia called the Zork, which is a plastic top that kind of zips around, and you just take it and you unwind it, and the top comes off.
Okay.
You see from Germany, there's some glass corks that are fitted really tightly to the bottle, and those are pretty unique, but they're expensive. So the whole idea is getting the mentality to say that there is something other than cork out there. So this just happens to be a real unique area. This is Chardonnay from domestic.
Oh, okay.
So when I'm talking about domestic, I'm talking about United States.
Okay.
Okay. And right behind you, we have Burgundy. And all white Burgundies are Chardonnay.
Oh, really?
Yes. All red Burgundies are Pinot Noir. All white Burgundies are Chardonnay.
I didn't know that.
So when you ask this question, I may be going one way or another on you.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, see, now this fascinates me because I almost want to try one of these.
Well, let's find out
Okay.
what it is that you're looking for in a Chardonnay.
Okay, when I drink a Chardonnay, I don't like a real oaky.
Okay.
Does that make sense, Chardonnay? I don't.
It totally
like,
makes sense.
I like a lighter Chardonnay.
Yep.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's a good question. So what you're finding in California is that they tend to be a little bit bigger in body, and by bigger in body, I'm really talking about alcohol. So it's not uncommon to see a Chardonnay hitting 14 to 15% alcohol, and that's a lot for a white wine if you think about it. But what they do is they barrel age stuff, and they barrel age it a lot. Chardonnay is probably the most manipulated grape in the world. It can be manipulated both in the field and by the winemaker. And in California, they do a lot of that. So a lot of oak, malolactic fermentation, which gives you that butteriness that you often hear. So if you want to stay away from that, maybe go to France. And Burgundy would be a perfect area for that. Yeah, because in France, they let the grape show the grape as opposed to masking it with a lot of oak or as opposed to masking it with malolactic fermentation. They pick it when it's ripe. They don't let it over ripen. So your alcohol levels in Burgundy are going to be more along the lines of 12 to 14% at tops.
Okay. And
there'll be a lot less oak. So just to get a reasonably priced one, I would suggest something along the lines of this Albert Bichot actually is quite nice. It's not real reasonable price. This one's $28.99. This is the Chablis. Chablis comes from the Chablis region of Burgundy, where there's a lot of minerals in the ground. Again, remember we talked about minerality. This is going to pull a lot of chalkiness out of the soil.
Now, why would we say Burgundy? Because when I hear you say that, I'm thinking it's going to be red.
Right. Well, Burgundy is actually a region.
Okay.
In the old world, in Europe, they name their wines after regions. Bordeaux is a region. Burgundy is a region. Chianti is a region. So they name their wines after the region because they think that wine is really about place and not about the grape.
Okay.
So you won't see grapes on these bottles. You'll see place. So Chablis is a region within Burgundy.
Okay.
And I know that if you get a wine from Chablis, the soils are very chalky and you're going to get more of a minerally chalky kind of Chardonnay. Now, that's a rosé, but now hold it up to the light and you see how it's starting to turn a little bit brown.
Yeah.
It's not that vibrant pink anymore. So it's getting a little bit older.
Well, I don't want to say anything bad about it, but it looks kind of cheesy. It does.
It does.
Madonna wine, going to the concert in November. Maybe I should buy this bottle. Right? The Material Girl. She's even got all different colors on here. And now it's because her dad owns this winery?
Yeah.
In Sutton's Bay?
Yep.
Okay.
Ciccone Vineyards.
And this is your one-of-a-kind only bottle
that's
that
the
you
last
have?
one I have, and you know what? That's yours. You can keep that.
Are you sure?
I'm positive. You can have that one.
Oh, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
This will be so much fun at the concert.
Yeah, there you go.
I'll pull this out.
You're talking about different styles. Here's all our champagnes here. Champagnes are nothing more than a regular wine that's made where the CO2 or the carbon dioxide is not allowed to leave. It actually stays in the bottle, and that's what gives us the bubbles. So when we ferment grapes, we get alcohol and we get carbon dioxide. At the winery, they blow all that off to make regular still wines. In the case of this, they'll make it into a regular wine, and then what they'll do is, for the less expensive, they'll actually shoot carbon dioxide back into the bottle.
Really?
Or they'll go through a second fermentation, which is what champagne's all about, inside the bottle with a cork in it so that the gases can't get out. So that's the basic premise behind champagne.
It can't be called champagne unless it's from Champagne, correct?
Right, that's right. That's right. Again, it's about place.
Right.
A great category of dessert wines that people are into, especially as we head into fall, we head into winter, are ports. And there's two styles of port. There's ruby and tawny. And port is nothing more than a wine that's been fortified with alcohol. So most wines, if you crush the grapes and you ferment all the sugars out of it, you get a dry wine that's moderately high in alcohol. If you take the sugars and you ferment them halfway, you get a moderately high alcohol level, but you get some sweetness into it. So something like a white Zin is a little bit lower in alcohol. But the unique things about port is that it's very high in alcohol, usually around 20%.
Yeah, 19.8%.
Yeah, usually around 20%, and yet it's still sweet. So what they do is, through the fermenting process, they kill the yeast by adding grape spirits or alcohol, which shoots the alcohol level way up and still maintains the sugar level. So the unique thing about this is it's going to be around 20%. If you open up a bottle of this, you don't have to finish it in 3 days. You basically have 4 to 5 months to finish it.
Really?
Yes. Because it's more of a stable product because of the higher alcohol level.
I'm not a big beer drinker, but I know a lot of people love their specialty beers. And
Yes.
I see you have quite a selection here.
Yeah, when I opened the store, I really wanted to be unique. I wanted to have things that people are really seeking out. And we do a great Belgian section here. But what's really grown over the years, 8 years ago when I opened up, we didn't have a 6-pack that made $10. They didn't have a retail price. Now just about everything is $8 to $20. But what we're finding is a slide from a lot of the foreign beers, so the Mexican and German and Irish and all those, to more craft beers. And
like
specifically, like right down here. Specifically, Michigan craft beers. We are very, very fortunate to be in Michigan because we are producing some absolutely spectacular beer. We're probably, I think we were 5th of all the states in the United States as far as producing great craft beers.
Like Frankenmuth.
Frankenmuth is a good thing. Founders, Bell's, they're all over. Dark Horse, Shorts. It's amazing what we're producing, and these are very sought after beers. And people are coming from other states to come here. I've got people coming from Canada. I've got people coming from Pennsylvania, from all over to get to some of these beers.
I didn't know you could swirl a white wine. I didn't know that oxygen was good for both colors of red and white. And the screw top thing, you're seeing more and more of it, and because wines get corked and it's not good for you. So that was interesting to learn. And I love too that Dean gave me this bottle of Madonna wine going to the concert in November, all because I was talking about my brother's obsession with Mariah Carey and her wine. And what do you know, Madonna has a wine, and her dad owns the winery right here in Michigan. So that was really cool too. Dean, I had so much fun in your store today, and I feel like I learned a lot that I didn't know.
Well, I'm glad you guys could come by because I always enjoy talking to people about wine.
Yeah, I can tell you're very passionate about it, and I thank you so much for my bottle of Madonna wine.
Anytime, I hope you enjoy it.
I'm going to enjoy this before the concert, and hopefully I'll be back in here too and try some other things that you suggested.
Excellent, I can't wait for it.
Nice meeting you.
Take care.
All right. One of the best things about taking a walk is stopping into places like this, the Oxford Wine and Beverage Company. I learned so much about wine. I had no idea about a couple of things that Dean shared with me. How exciting. And I walked away with a bottle of wine. How cool is that? So remember, we might be taking a walk in your town next. See you next time.